This episode of the Polyhedron Collider Cast is sponsored by Kienda. Head to kienda.co.uk/Polyhedron Collider for 10% off your first order. Oh, Sid's got some of them cinnamon knots.
No, no, I haven't.
What are they?
I've now got an upgraded version called chocolate nuts.
Oh.
Oh.
Are they still cinnamon chocolate?
No cinnamon. No. These boys are pure chocolate. It's chocolate and chocolate.
No.
Would you like to hear the
I'd like to hear the
spiel?
snap of you biting one. Yes, please.
Hang on. Where is it?
The subsequent.
It
Ow,
says
me
something
teeth!
on it. All butter chocolate biscuits with chocolate flakes topping.
So basically, it's just a high-end Cadbury's finger, is what you're saying.
No, mate, no. Oh, no. It's nothing to do. It's not close to a Cadbury's finger, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
These are biscuits rolled on the thighs of virgins. These are special. All right? People will walk over hot coals with these bad boys.
Damn it, I've had the cinnamon ones. The cinnamon ones are really tasty.
They're beautiful. Now, what I want to do now, though, is I want to get a cinnamon one and a chocolate one and, like, double them up.
Sandwich them together.
Sandwich them. And there's a few experiments to be had in there. Is it 2 chocolates with a cinnamon middle? Or 2 cinnamons with a chocolate middle?
You need that sweet and savoury mix, don't you?
Yeah, that's it.
Then you've got to test the dunking capability. How does it handle a cup of tea?
Oh, Christ. Mate, you're a
how does it fare on the hobnob scale? Because he's got rich tea at one end and hobnobs at the other. Come on.
Well, I'm thinking you need to Christmas it up and see what it's dipped in brandy.
Oh, I could do that. I've got brandy in my coffee.
Oh, yes, mate. Yes, Seth.
Wow.
20 to 1.
Hang on, boys. Have we actually started the show yet?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Polyhedron Collider, episode 178, the best games we've played in 2025. I'm Steve Tudor.
I'm Andy Lewis.
I'm Sid Gill.
And I'm Rory Summers. End of the year, should we just get cracking? We've got loads to talk about. It's been another belting year, I think, for games. And no argument. Let's just move on.
I was going to say it wasn't, but then I started listing them down, and I thought, do you know what? Yeah, it's actually been pretty good. There's a big list in front of us.
Yeah. There's a very big list, and we need to whittle down a bit.
Yes, Steve and I are going to struggle.
Yeah, I only put 3 on my list because Steve told me to only do 3 games, and because I'm good at following instructions, I followed the instructions.
I wasn't given the instructions, so it's
the same instructions we get every sodding year, Andy. Come on.
And every sodding year, I blatantly ignore them because I've got more than 3 games I want to talk about. Have you not learned yet? What did you say just before we started recording?
So the general format is we will go around speaking about the games we've enjoyed the most in the last year, and then we usually pick a game we've talked about as our best of the year. However, I think we've come to a unanimous decision even before we've started recording, so we're going to leave that to the very end.
Ooh.
This is an 80s game show with Bruce Willis.
No surprise at all.
Not people. Did not do well.
Oh dear, I bet half our audience won't get that joke, but never mind. I'm going to kick things off then. We might as well get straight into it, and I'm going to kick things off by talking about The Lord of the Rings, Fate of the Fellowship.
Ooh. I wasn't expecting you to talk about that one.
We don't have to keep this TV show thing up, guys. We don't have to do oohs after every game reveal, okay?
Well, I think we should.
I thought that was just in my head. I didn't realise I was vocalising it.
Sid's life is actually just an 80s quiz show game, isn't it?
I reckon I could enjoy that, though.
Do you want a blankety-blank checkbook and pen?
Did you hear that Bullseye's coming back? Or in fact, Bullseye's back with bloody Flintoff, isn't it?
It's
is it bad?
It'll never top Jim Bowen being, useless and slightly awkward.
Modern Bullseye's bad, but Fate of the Fellowship's really good.
Right. Sorry to
That
sidetrack
was
you.
the lamest attempt to drag us back on track.
It's working, goddammit. Anyway, if you don't know what this is effectively Lord of the Rings Pandemic. So it takes the very basic Pandemic game system of diseases, being that you have to eradicate them, and you have a limited number of actions per turn, and it's fully cooperative, and what you're doing is working with each other, moving cards. But instead of diseases, you have orcs, and instead of the Pandemic classic of having to cure 4 diseases and to win the game, you will have a series of missions. The last mission is always to get the ring to Mount Doom. And number one, this game is good because it's a cooperative game that we found hard, and I always think a cooperative game needs to be hard from the outset. You can get better at it, and you can find things that are making it more difficult later on, but I get disappointed when the cooperative game is quite easy. You've got lots of things to manage. You've got to manage the orcs themselves, which are marching across the map. You've got to manage the Eye of Sauron, because if he's got his eye on you, bad things happen. And worst of all, you have to manage the Nazgul, because they will hoard or over wherever they think Sam and Frodo are with the ring. And it gets into proper Pandemic discussions of, right, if I go there and do this and do that, which means I've got this card which I can give to you, you can do that, we can do this, we can sneak past the guards at Mordor, and we can be in. And then the next turn, something bad happens, and you go, well, that's just put all our plans into a cocked hat, because now there's an army marching out of, I don't know, Workwood. Something like that will happen.
Yeah.
Loads of replayability just due to the huge amount of missions which can be played in a combination. Loads of characters you can play with as well, although someone always has to play with Sam and Frodo, because you always have to use them to get the ring into Mount Doom. A little bit overproduced.
A little bit.
A little bit. Didn't really need soldier meeples. They could have been cubes. Didn't need the dice tower, although it is really cool, because it has got an Eye of Sauron dice tower. But, yeah. I really, really like this game.
I thoroughly enjoy this and support it going on your list.
I liked it because it's a nice, it's a big twist on the Pandemic formula. Because, we've had like lots of different Pandemics over the years, and they've all been broadly the same.
Yeah.
Like even the Cthulhu one, which was kind of fun, was still basically the same idea. This is, I think, really quite different and yet familiar, and it works really well.
Yeah,
because
agreed.
the diseases don't ping like they do in the normal games. They do follow an unpredictable but a path, and dealing with the Nazgul and all of the other things as well. And I would say it is actually canonically quite accurate, mostly, which is nice. So yeah, I really thought it was quite good. You two, Rory and Steve, played it ahead of me. I then played it at Tabletop Scotland, I think it was. Way back in the pre-industrial dystopia of Spring 25, and I really enjoyed it. Was it spring? No,
September.
Summer 25.
September, mate.
Yeah.
Not that long ago.
No, it feels it. But no, really good, really, really good game.
Mr. Gill, would you like to furnish us with a game which you have enjoyed playing this last year?
Yes, I would. And it was one that, as soon as we started thinking about this year's games, it was one of the ones that first leapt into my mind, because of, just like my brandy coffee here, it stirred a nostalgic warmth in me. All right? And that is Fighting Fancy Adventures by Wallace Designs. All right? I loved this game when we played it, and I reminded myself, I listened back to our episode 170, where we talked about it before. I listened to it, and I sat here, and I was like, bloody hell, that was a good game. I was, reminiscing nostalgically over me talking about a game that I was reminiscing over nostalgically. Because it honestly, so for folks that don't know, this is basically the Fighting Fantasy Play Your Own Adventure books from times of, like, we were small kids, put into a board game. So you are playing the Fighting Fantasy games, books, and it's beautiful. It's like, what is it, 4 classic classes?
Yeah, you've got the warrior, the mage, the healer, and the
thief. Scout, that's it. So you got them, throw them into a dungeon. play through the dungeon cooperatively or on your own if you want, and beat the monsters. Stupid puzzles that make no sense, no clues, nothing to help you, no guardrails, nothing. Just go and play, and then work out at the end why you didn't know how to solve that puzzle. Because you didn't pick up stupid blue key in the room with the man that wanted a banana, and you didn't have a banana. I just loved it. But you know what? What I love more about it as well now is listening back to our conversation about before, is how much it reminds me of Nightmare.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
And I'm not sure why, last time when we spoke about it, and even in my own head until just today, I hadn't clocked the two together. But that's what they are.
Let's be
That's what it
fair.
is.
Nightmare was probably based on fighting fantasy books. They're both,
almost
charts of the
certainly.
90s, aren't they?
Almost certainly. But the
80s.
Fighting Fantasy's board game, I would say, is you're sitting there with a few mates, right?
Yeah.
And you're playing Dungeoneers. You are wandering through the dungeon together, solving the puzzles that make no sense, because that was another show where the puzzles made no sense. What am I going to pick up off this table? I've got no a priori information to decide which one of these items I need, so I'll pick up a
But
mirror.
it's never, ever the gold. Never
No,
pick up the gold.
Never the gold. You need the random thing. You need the knackered old key that doesn't look like it works in anything anymore. I love it.
You know,
I
they
love
made a load
this.
of choose your own adventure versions of Nightmare, right?
Did they?
Did
Yeah.
they? No,
During
they
lockdown-
did. You're right. They did.
They did. During lockdown, Paul Flannery, the guy who runs Nightmare Live, basically ran through each of these books over Discord. So we sort of sat and we went through it, and basically every time there was a decision, it opened the vote to the crowd. And it turns out democracy is not the way to play those games.
There are a lot of fingers in the books. But Fighting Fantasy Adventures, I think, just took that book format and it did something clever with it and made it work as a co-op game. But also kept all the good stuff from the books, like being ridiculously hard, like having no save ability. It was. I bloody loved it.
It was such a wonderful homage back to those books. I think in the written review I did for this game, I called it Martin Wallace's love letter to the fighting fantasy books. And for me, he kept it so honest and so true to keep all of that in the board game version and make it cooperative. It feels just like those books. I remember because I've recently, Logan has earlier this year, maybe the end of last year, he started playing the Lizard King book, just trying to get him to read more. I thought this would be fun. And there was parts when we were doing the Lizard King adventure in the board game, he remembered scenes from the book that occurred in the board game. Was like, no, I'm not going anywhere near that tree. I'm not doing that thing, because he remembers it. And it's just the fact that those key scenes are still there. I think it's just wonderful.
It's such a good reimagining of the books.
Yeah.
This is a standout game for me this year. I absolutely loved it.
You can tell where the money went as well, was the artwork, because ultimately in the box you've just got a rule book and 5 decks of cards. Was it 6?
Yeah.
6 decks of cards. That's it. But the artwork is stunning.
It's a beautiful game all round. Just generally, it's a beautiful game. I think all aspects of it. It's put money where it needed to be. In the right places for me, this one.
Good stuff. Andy.
Well, before I continue, I am going to do my annual insert of choice. Because, the
You're
crowd
going to
loves
insert it into the list.
I'm going
right
to
now.
insert my insert of choice. I see what you did there. That was very, very good. Now, there's quite a few on the shortlist here. One was questioned by Mr. Summers until he was shot down.
Shouldn't be there.
It should be there. The whole point of an insert is to basically make the deployment of the game easy and to store your components. Altay does that by putting all the other resources in one little tray, so you can just put it on the table. That's
Are you
very handy.
really explaining the concept of an insert to me?
Well, clearly you need it, so. But unfortunately, Altay does not cut the mustard, as useful as it is, because it is just basically a bunch of resources and cards. No. We need something far more. I'm going to say complicated, but no. Luthier was a good one. We liked Luthier when we played it, and it has quite a nice insert, but unfortunately it does also suffer from Lords of Waterdeep syndrome. Whenever you upend it, the whole thing goes everywhere, especially the bottom half. So all of the little tiles where you score, no, Sorry, that's been discounted. There is another game on this list that we will probably be talking about later, which I shall not mention, which leaves one of two. Rival Cities was very, very good because it's a series of boxes into which you put all of the resources, and that just makes the deployment of the game very easy. But the winner, by a clear margin, not only was it £22, but this thing just looks amazing. You open the box and the board sits on top, and then there is a drawer into which you put all of the counters that you play the game. And this game is Leaders. And this is by Studio H. It was released at Tabletop Scotland this year, exclusive release, and it was £22. And it looks incredible. Everything's got gold leaf around it, and the drawer just holds all the components nicely, which admittedly is just a bunch of standees. But still, they're very nice, very well kept, and it just looks like a £60 game. But it's a £20 box. And for that, Leaders wins, because it just works, and it just looks so classy.
I'd admit I was surprised by that, actually.
Really? There you go, you see.
I'm surprised it's not an Eagle Griffin game.
Well, I did consider that, but this year's Eagle Griffin game, Inventions, unfortunately, every time I take it anywhere, all of the actual bonus tiles for the actual Inventions part of the game end up all over the bloody place, and I end up having to resort them all. So I instantly disqualified it. As nice as they usually are, you do have a point. They're usually pretty good, and mostly it is, but this year, unfortunately, no, those tokens just pissed me off, so I disqualified it on site.
I've just looked at the picture of this, and yeah, you're right. It's got a little drawer, and the drawer's even a little ribbon,
Yeah,
so you can help pull the drawer
and
out.
all of that for £22. It's incredible. It's so good.
It's a very good game. It's a very powerful game. It's a fun game to play.
An incredibly good game. So we talked about it in episode 174, for those of you who want to know our thoughts on it. But yes, Leaders wins my Insert of Choice award. Now, for the meat and veg of the whole thing, I am going to put down Nemesis Retaliation.
Ooh.
Because I've got all of the Nemesis stuff, as regular viewers will know, and I really love the Nemesis games. I really like the semi-co-op nature of it. I think, honestly, I don't think you'll get a better semi-co-op at all, ever, out there. It's just so well done. And I think this year's version, this iteration, is a nice departure, or a sufficient departure, from the norm. It mixes up the combat a bit, it mixes up the map design a bit, it mixes up the enemies a bit, but it still retains its kind of core play two cards, do two things kind of idea. But it just works. Apart from one thing in the rulebook, but we'll gloss over that. Listen to episode 177 if you want to know the issues there. But I really liked it. I think it works really, really well. I think it feels good. There's a lot of... there's a lot of replayability, but unlike the first two games, because the map is almost pseudo-randomly generated, you're never going to get the same map twice. So finding your way around, you can't strategize on anything like that. Sid mentioned it's hard to travel across the map. I disagree, but listen to 177 again for that. But because the map is made up as you go along, rather than on being on a fixed board, you've got to think about where to go, what to do. You never know what you're going to find. You never know what your route through the game is. You might end up in the arsehole of nowhere in Area C before you even find any of the life support. And that was another thing they added. You've got to really hustle to turn on the oxygen generator before you all choke to death. And that's as soon as you set foot on the board. The pressure is on right from the start. Rather than having individual aliens, there are swarms now, which make for the good times. This is very much Aliens, the board game, I think. If you've seen the film, obviously, this is swarms of things that you go and shoot. It is a bug hunt, ultimately. But I think set in the Nemesis universe, it just really works. I think it's really, really, really good.
I can't disagree. I really enjoyed it. And as much like you said, I found it close enough to the original Nemesis that it did feel like the same game, but different enough that it didn't just feel like someone had scratched off a couple of numbers and changed them. Different approach. I think someone described it really good. I think the original, I remember we mentioned this in the review as well, the original Nemesis is Alien Lockdown is an Alien 3, and Retaliation is Aliens, and you do get that tonal shift between all of them as well. Yes,
no, I agree. Yeah, and it just adds a few extra elements.
Yeah, I found this game to be really dynamic, really tense, really interesting. It really created a sense of narrative as we played it. And I think that's even marked as you go through the ship into zones A, B, and C, and then come back. Really interesting game. I've only played it once, and I would absolutely love to play this again. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Well, you know where I live, Mr. Summers.
I do, but Rich lives a lot closer.
That's fair, yeah. Mr. Rory, whilst we're on the subject, it's your choice, sir.
Okay, I'm going to pick a game. I'm going to pick a game that we haven't discussed this year. It's a game I've played, but we've not reviewed, and that is Molly House from Whirligig Games. And I'm choosing this. Look at Sid's face there. This is good. This is a roll and move. This is a roll and move game that I played with Sid, and I've played it several times now. And the more I've played this game, the more I've enjoyed it. My first impression of it wasn't overwhelmingly brilliant. The idea is you are running a Molly House, which is an establishment for gentlemen who like to...
Are the company of other gentlemen.
Who enjoy the company of other gentlemen and have their own privacy and their own... They want to just spend their time doing that. Make of that, of what you will, of different levels. But in this game, you've got to go to these Molly houses in the corners of the board, and you're going to throw a party. You're going to throw a party at a Molly house, and you've got to collectively, with this essentially a glorified deck of cards, you're playing cards into the middle of the board. You're trying to complete sets, and you've got to do this in a really interesting collaborative fashion. You've got to try and get certain sets of cards, so that's whether it's a queen high or a Molly, and then a certain run of other numbers or what have you. But you're trying to do this, and you always want your cards to be picked and your cards to be part of the party, but you also want to keep your cards for your own personal gain, but you never want to get busted. You never ever want to get busted, so you're trying to get rid of the constables and the rogues, and the only way to do that is through these parties. It's got this really clever interplay of collaboration, but yet you want to be the winningest winner of them all. The game ends wonderfully in either the gay culture can atrophy and everybody loses. One of the Molly houses can get busted, and unless you've turned traitor to that community, everybody loses. You can get hanged. You pick up decrees against you and arrest warrants and stuff like that. It is a really mechanically quite simple game, but the play between the players is where it all is. I've found this utterly enthralling and so interesting, so different and fresh. I love playing it. It's been one of the games I've played more than 5 times this year, and it's a cracking game. I wish we had time to play it, gents. But Sid, you weren't. Your face when I pulled
Sid
Molly
looks
House.
of a different opinion. I'm not going to lie.
Rory and I played this game. We then discussed whether we would talk about it on the podcast, and we said no, it's not fair to the game to talk about it after just one play, because we stepped away from it not enamored would be, or with mixed emotions. I wasn't, and it's interesting to hear that more plays have changed your mind in a way that we thought it might. So that's encouraging.
And having played it at higher player counts as well, I think this game isn't as good at 2, because you do need that collaboration from other players to build the hands and the deck and the sets of cards. That's easier and is more interesting as soon as you've got a 3rd or a 4th player as well.
And it did feel like we were missing almost part of the game when we played as 2. It didn't feel that it had that stuff that you've just described. So that's really good to hear.
Very interesting game, and that's why I find it very. It just feels very different for everything else I've played this year.
I'd agree with you on that. It is very different to anything else we've played this year. There's no debate on that one. But it's a good. It's a good thing. It's good. It's good. I never thought it was a bad game. I just didn't understand it.
When I was coming up with my shortlist, I didn't understand it at first. It has taken a few playthroughs to get what the game's trying to do and how it's trying to do it. It reminds me a lot of when we were talking about PAX Premier 2nd edition, and it is that clever interplay of the players that really make this game. If you play this game just really mechanically, really methodically, just doing all by the numbers, the game is not interesting. It really is how the players interact with one another that makes this game what it should be.
I think that's a common thing in Whirligig anyway, because I think Cole does play on the interactivity between players in most, if not all, of his games. And I do agree with you, Rory. I think it really does make the game when you can interact with your players positively or otherwise. And it does, as you and I are often quite enamoured with, a story. It develops a story, and that's the thing that I think Cole is very, very good at.
No, that's me. That's Whirligig, and that's Molly House. So, Steve, back to you, mate.
Oh, God, I need to make decisions now. Right, since I actually have loads of choices, I will pick games that actually came out in 2025, because I realised half my list were games that are new to me in 2025. So I'm going to talk about Star Wars Battle for Hoth, which is the two-player...
He's gone for dice. It's not a dice chucker, is it?
No, it's
It is. No, it is. It is a dice chucker.
Oh, is it? Okay, so
it's very much a
you've gone
dice
for a
chucker.
thematic one.
Oh, this is very much a dice chucker. So this is a re-implementation of Memoir 44 in the Star Wars universe, mimicking the Imperial invasion of the Rebel base on Hoth. There is a whole book of missions and scenarios you play through, and it really is a simple system. It's a hex-based grid which has got various terrain on it, and you will draw cards and play those cards. And with those cards, that will allow you to say move a unit on the left flank. May you allow you to move all your vehicles or all your troops, or bring in supplies, or do various things. So you can't just decide to move with a unit. You have to use cards to move your units, and you'll have objectives in some games. Other games you just have to just shoot the enemy to get them done. Really interesting dice mechanic as well, in that certain dice results will hit certain enemies. So, like, there's one thing on the dice which is always a hit, another thing which only wound infantry, and things like that. You've got a really cool system of way of getting AT-ATs, because it's got AT-ATs in there, and AT-ATs take 2 hits in one dice roll effectively to destroy, which is always fun watching, like, Rory try and shoot my AT-ATs and then get the first dice roll and then utterly fail the next one, and I breathe a huge sigh of relief and stomp forward with the damn things as they just slowly march towards his base and killing everything in their path. Really quick, I think 20 minutes a game.
Wow,
That really surprised me, actually, the speed at which you got through it.
It is.
And that includes
half
setup
an hour maybe
as well.
Yeah, and we're including setup as well, because once you've started to get setup done, it's really easy, really quick, and that, which means you just keep. You finish a mission, you go, well, let's play the next one. Let's carry on. What are we waiting for? Beautifully produced as well. Everything is nicely sculpted miniatures. I mean, they're board game miniatures, but they still look absolutely great. You can distinguish straight away what's a trooper, what's a droid, what's an AT-AT, speeders. Really well put together game. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was fun. It was absolute fun. Wasn't a brain burner. Wasn't trying to do something lofty. It was just fun.
Yeah. Really surprising price tag on this as well. You can pick this up for about 50 quid. And that is, I think, because considering the quality of the content you get inside that box, with all those miniatures, all those cards, all that Star Wars art as well, that includes the IP license. It's an absolute brilliant. 20 minutes per game. You can blast through this. Love this. This is the type of game that I keep in the back of the car every time I go over to Steve's house, because if it's ever, we've got a bit more time before we can call it a night. I've got Battle for Hoth in the boot. We just get one more mission done.
Is it? I didn't ask this at the time. Is it like a campaign that you can play, or is it just individual scenarios?
Both.
Oh, nice. Excellent.
So you can play just scenarios one after another, which the results don't matter. They're just different scenarios, but there is a campaign play in there as well.
Yeah,
awesome.
which allows you to add new cards to your decks as well. So if you keep winning or if you keep losing, you've got these cards that you only use in those instances.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sid.
Right. Time for an argument.
Time for an argument.
I'm staying
It's
out
not
of it.
like
Well, that's what this game caused when we played it last. So my next choice is Ponzi Scheme.
That was not an argument. That was a sound thrashing.
Right, it was a fucking raging debate is what it was.
I don't think it was an argument. I think it was just threatening. It was just said, if you do that, we're going to put your lights out. That's not an argument, Sid. There's no to and throwing.
No.
Basal threats. But no, so this game was introduced to us at Expo, I think, you guys will love this game. This is a U game. We played it. Yeah, it's an us game, and this game is it's weird. It is literally a Ponzi scheme. You have a board full of funds or shares or what stock? I don't know what it is.
Shares.
Cards with numbers on it, right? And it has a value of
Sid
cash.
does finance.
Sid does finance, right? It has got a cash value, and you have to pay that cash value back within a number of turns. And that's pretty
With
much
interest.
it. Well, yeah, you have to pay a promised amount back. So say you get a card for 1,000 in 4 turns' time, you're gonna have to pay back £10,000, right? So you go, right, I'll pick one of them up. You take a share item or whatever it was, or a company that you put it in. It's so you're set collecting the companies, aren't you? So you've got whatever it was, 4 industries. And that's the game. And it escalates. Yeah, you go around the table and somebody picks up £1,000. Somebody picks up £5,000. Ooh, it's getting a bit spicy now. And then you have to trade the bloody things between each other. But it's not a simple trade. Oh no, it's not you can buy this for me for like a number. No, the other person nominates the price, don't they?
Was it?
You,
I can
you
sell
make
a-
an offer.
You make
can
an
make an
offer.
offer to buy,
Yeah.
and then the other person can basically double
Double
the
it,
money in there,
and
then they have to take the
have
share
to
off
take
you.
it off you.
You cannot refuse the counter offer.
Exactly.
You have to take it. There's beautiful strategy in that
Yeah,
because
it's
everyone
so
thinks they've
complex.
sorted it out, and they actually haven't because it's complete
carnage.
random as to what people do.
It's absolute carnage. And then periodically, you'll get bear shares or whatever they were called, bear cards, which rock up in this marketplace of available options. And was it 4 or 5 of those appear and the entire
Depends on the number
market
of players,
goes
but yeah, a
crazy?
certain number appears. Yeah.
Crashes the market. Everyone loses some of their shares, and
But they're
everything gets reset.
hilarious, those ones. They're just ludicrous amounts of money.
The beauty about this game is when Sid looks and goes, hang on, next round I need to pay $77. I have $3. And someone's just cleared all the bear markets, which are ones that are worth money.
There's not enough cards left on the table for me to earn enough money with which to pay this back. And then you suddenly realise it is truly a Ponzi scheme. You're literally riding on the promise of the last couple of goes, and I wasn't able to cash it in. So I loved this game. I loved what it did. It created an atmosphere on the table. It created fun. It created interaction between players. And all amongst that, you were enjoying yourself playing it.
I agree.
Yeah, I loved
Splendid
it.
game.
It's absolutely bloody marvellous. Right up my disease-ridden alley. It was amazing. Absolutely loved it. It was
It's
just
spectacular.
Because you can be a proper git in it as well. It's
Yeah,
really
but this
great.
is the thing. You could be a proper git in it and then get completely twatted the next time it comes round to your turn anyway. It's just the entire table can just turn on you.
Or in our case, we all turn on you and remain on you.
Well, I mean, I turned on myself at one point when I realised that within the next 2 rounds I was out of the game anyway, and I just doubled or tripled down on my Ponziing.
Mistakes were made, I'm not going to lie.
I rode on the hope that I was less screwed than somebody else. Unfortunately, I was the bottom of that pile of people being screwed.
Yeah.
But it was a solid strategy, and I'll stand by it. I'll do it again. Anyway,
Guaranteed win.
so that's Ponzi Scheme by Bright Eyed Games. Absolute little belter.
Yeah,
Andy.
really, really good. Well, I'm going to slightly bend the rules a little bit here, but you'll see why in a moment. I know. We're limited to 1, but I'm going to kind of bundle 2 because they're both by Eagle Griffin. So it's almost allowed. Inventions was Vital Lacerda's game. I think it came out actually the end of 2024, but I started playing it this year, so it counts. But more importantly was House of Fado, which is one of his mini games. And Vital has been making a kind of miniature version of some of his sort of larger games that incorporate some of the major mechanics of those games. So House of Fado takes stuff from The Gallerist, Bot Factory takes stuff from Kanban, and Mercato de Lisboa, funnily enough, takes the merchanty bit from Lisboa. And I have it hot off the press is making a new one that's based a little bit on Mars. But I can't remember what it's called. He did tell me. But it's out, I think, next year. I might be wrong. But so he's continuing the little trend of mini Lacerdas, as I've dubbed them now. But I really enjoyed House of Fado. So the idea is that, a little bit like The Gallerist, you are promoting and hiring, in this case, Fado musicians, which is a type of miserable Argentinian music, I think it is.
Portuguese,
thank you, yes. In your restaurants, promoting them like you do artists in The Gallerist. And the idea is that if they get to a certain level of fame, they become, too good for your squalid little establishment, and they go off on their own. And that will earn you a star, and the number 5. And once all 5 stars have been taken, then the game ends. Sometimes rather suddenly, which I know caught a couple of people out, especially the first time you play it. But I think the simplification of The Gallerist into this works really, really well, as do the other two as well. And I really enjoyed Fado. I really enjoyed the kick-out mechanic he's brought in from The Gallerist, where if you get booted out your little worker placement spot, you get to do a kind of miniature action that's based on that spot as well. So part of the strategy of the game, the skill of the game, is basically trying to play in places where you're hopefully going to get kicked out of, so you're going to continuous run of sort of little bonus actions that go along through the game. And I just think, for a game that lasts about an hour, give or take, I think it's just a wonderful little game, and I look forward to the next one of his mini games, because I think they all are really, really, really good.
Weirdly, when I saw you add this to the list, I was a little sad.
Oh.
Not because it's a
pun not intended.
No, pun not intended.
Wow.
Because I'd forgotten I'd played this year, and I was like, "Yeah, he's right. This is a sterling little game."
It is.
It's as I said, takes this core concept of The Gallerist and turns it into something which isn't a complete brain ache. There are still some difficult decisions to make in it, but it's not the overhead of thinking that's required that you get in a typical Lacerda. So I'll be intrigued to know what the On Mars one is, because On Mars is actually one of my favourite Lacerda games. So yeah.
So yes, House of Fado, Eagle Griffin Games. We did talk about it in episode 163 if you want to hear a full rundown of that. But I think it's a wonderful, wonderful little game. As well as Inventions. I really enjoyed that as well. That's a fantastic sort of multifaceted, proper full heavy Euro as well that he's produced this year. Pain to teach, but great to play. Mr. Summers.
My next game, I'm going to talk about Ayar from Osprey Games and my mate Fabio Lopiano.
You stun me, sir.
Yeah, I couldn't end the year without talking about this game one more time. So we talked about this in full back in episode 175, but Ayar sees you trying to manipulate and guess how the 4 Ayar brothers are going to march across the board and make sure you've got all your ducks in a row when they hit certain scoring areas or Ramie tiles. So you are going to be doing some really basic, you've got 4 basic areas. So you're going to do some set collection with some pottery, or you're going to do some growing some maize as your area control, or just going up a track when you're building the reed huts and so on and so forth. And you're going to try and progress these AR through their tracks. The spaces they leave behind them are where you're going to take your actions, select your action spots, the actual actions you're going to take. The more things it gets quite complicated if you try and talk about the rules. Go back and listen to episode 175 to get all about it. It's a fascinating game with this really wonderful scoring mechanism and this really great feel of almost like betting on horses. Which one is going to be the last one standing, because that's the one I've got to put all my eggs in that basket and try and promote and try and make sure I hit all of those scoring opportunities as the game goes on. I absolutely adored this game from my first play of it to my last, and I would gladly play it again. Great amount of brain burn, and in a surprising amount of time. I think these games only take about 90 minutes, definitely less than 2 hours, even at 4 players. And at 4 players, that's where the game really shines. Brilliant game. And that's all I have to say about that. Yeah.
I couldn't get my head around it when you first described it, but it sounds really clever.
It's a really difficult one to describe, but once you play it, you go, oh! And then when you realise there's the fight for the getting to the scoring tiles, having the ability to have power over which area scores and then potentially basically screwing someone over because you've knocked out their scoring capability, then trying to balance the day and night scoring. I mean, there's a lot to think about in the game, but it works really well. It is a really good game.
Right, so that's my game 2. Steve, your third game.
Oh, I'm going to pick a third game, and there's like 6 games left on my list. Right, I'm going to take a technicality, which is a game we played this year, but it didn't actually come out this year. In fact, I don't know when this game came out. I think this game came out like 3 years ago, but we only played it for the first time this year. I'm going to just double check in Board Game Geek because I don't want to get the facts wrong.
It's legit. We're allowed.
It is legit. He's right, because we usually get the caveat that it's new to us this year.
It's new to us, yes. So, my choice for a game we've played this year, but didn't come out, it came out last year, is Fateforge Chronicles of Kaan.
Oh, yes.
Brilliant choice.
Good shout.
Now, this is a fantasy dungeon crawler campaign game which is app-driven, which I know turns a lot of people off. It's got a fantastic story. It's got a Where's Wally style map section where you have to trace your route through the city, because it doesn't say go to the tavern. It says go to the tavern, which has got an anchor for a sign. And so you have to try and find that and take the streets, going through like a choose your own adventure style thing as you choose the streets. And you can genuinely get lost because you can't work out which street you're going to, or it can take you too long to get to your destination. There's a mission where to evade enemy capture, you get turned into cats and play as cats for an entire adventure.
I forgot about that. It was so much fun.
Has this been designed by Frank West?
It is insane. And then the game itself, the gameplay is like a dungeon crawler, but it's really a complicated puzzle because your movements and attacks and your special actions are done by a dice roll. And you roll the dice first and then choose how you're going to use them. So some people, Adam in their group, found this quite restrictive. However, me and Rory found it like this really cool puzzle. We know we've got to get to the other side of the dungeon as quickly as possible. There's 2 baddies in the way. Can we pool the resource and attack them? And the beauty is, once you've rolled those dice, everything is deterministic. So if I'm going to say attack, I know how much damage I'm going to do. Take enough hit points, that baddie comes off the board. Easy peasy. You know how much you can move with each move action. It's all about optimizing your actions to get it done, and you usually have a very tight turn limit. Like, you must complete this dungeon in 3 turns. Which always feels like an utter stretch. And what gets me is, like, there might be 2 paths, and one path has got treasure. And you're like, well, we could do with the treasure because we're low on money and we're low on equipment, but we've only got 3 turns. So I think we need to get a shift on and go do the objective.
Or do we go man down? We'll do that. You go get the treasure.
Yeah. It does a really cool system as well. It's got miniatures for the characters, but all the bad guys are just wooden discs with artwork on. Mm-hmm. Which looks really effective and means you can have a bunch of models in there. The way the enemies activate is really cool as well. Again, all app driven, so it's random, so you don't know who's going to activate each round, so you can't even guarantee that all the monsters are going to activate. Like, for instance, Mon might not activate at all, and the order in which they activate can change each round as well. Ooh. Utterly fascinating, utterly brilliantly put together game. Unfortunately for us, we're only about halfway through the campaign.
Yeah.
And already I can see there are branching narratives. Our success in the first act, or should I say our failure in the first act, is definitely having an effect on things that are happening in the second act.
Oh, that's cool.
Cool. Yeah.
It sounds... I'd really like to play this because I do like a good dungeon crawler. It sounds obviously very mechanically different, but it sounds similar in feel to something like Gloomhaven, in that you've got a very restrictive number of turns, which is given by the number of cards. Obviously, mechanically, it's obviously very, very different, but it's that kind of thing. Now, you don't necessarily know exactly what's going to happen in Gloomhaven, but you've got the cards in front of you. You know what you can and can't do, and you know how many turns you've got to do it, and it's always not quite enough.
I would say, if you're going to make me force and say it's X and Y, it's like Gloomhaven and Mansions of Madness.
Nice.
Because it's got a very Euro-y restrictive action mechanic.
Yep.
and you've got limited actions, but then it's got the whole things are happening in the
Yeah, you've
background,
got the
which are
ticking
run
clock
by
that
the
you
app.
can't see. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds...
Oh, no, actually, no, the ticking clock you can see on this. It does actually say, like, you have 3 rounds,
Right.
so you can't hang around. But there are sometimes other things that happen, like a boss might do something unpredictable. It's written into the app. It's, Fateforge, Mighty Boards, there's 2 expansions for it, and I kind of don't know whether I want to go back and add them, but I think we have to start the campaign again if we do. Yeah.
That's annoying.
Which is okay, because I think the campaign will have lots of replayability. Now, I will say one of the wonderful things about this game that I love is each of the little dungeon crawlery combat bits. They've got a limit on turns, I think, which is usually 3. But they're always really narratively driven. It never feels like it's a mechanical overhead to just make the sections play quickly. There's a really good reason why everything has to be done so rapid. And it makes the flow of those scenes, those dice chucking sections, it feels really fast, because it is. You actually get a lot of these chapters done in one gaming session, because everything in this game just happens so quickly. But the other thing I love about this is the restricted communication that we've got. So I roll my dice, my 4 or 5 dice, and I can't actually tell Steve what I've got. So when you're doing this when you've got this cooperative, we need to do this, I can say, I can't tell you what dice I've got. I was like, I can run a bit, or I
might be able to help with that.
I can diss out some pain, but I ain't going anywhere, type of thing.
Right.
You're not allowed to explicitly say I've rolled this, and that. So nobody can quarterback and just look at all the dice and go, this is what we have to do. You've got to come up with a plan and then go, right, can we do this plan? No, okay, let's come up with a different plan. Right, let's make the best of this situation. Really fun, really, really fun.
Nice. Right. Well, I might be purchasing that at some point.
I'm surprised you've not played it.
So am I.
Steve's house, Monday night.
Right, done. Actually, is that like 2 days before Christmas? That might be slightly pushing it, but yes.
I think I've got guests then anyway, so it might be after Christmas, unfortunately.
Some Monday night in the future, we're playing Fateforge. Sounds good to me. Mr. Gill.
Right, well, you put me on the spot now, because I had my 2 games ready in the pipe, and my 3rd game I wasn't really planned for, wasn't prepared for a 3rd game. And I've realised 2 things sitting here listening to you guys talk. 1, we've not talked about an RPG. 2, we've not mentioned Cthulhu. So I'm going to give you a bog off. And I'm going to put on the table Call of Cthulhu, Sutra of Pale Leaves. And this is a Call of Cthulhu RPG campaign book that came out this year. Right? And so what? I hear you all screaming at me. Wow. Set in the 80s. Number 1 difference. Number 2 difference. Set in Japan. In the 80s. That's exciting. I had fun in this game. There was awesomeness.
I think we should point out that one of the things that really stands out about Cthulhu, because most Call of Cthulhu scenarios are 1920s America, so it's mobsters, it's rum running, that kind of thing. So everyone's got Tommy guns. Well, Japan has got really, really strict gun control. Mm-hmm. So none of your player characters are armed. No. So when the first Gribbly comes around the corner and starts to attack, the panic in the player's eyes is real.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And shit myself, I did. Right? It's good gear, man. Honestly, this was a fantastic spin on the normal Cthulhu we play. Now, this is not to say there isn't loads of modern Cthulhu setting stuff and all the other stuff, but this is the first one that we've really played Cthulhu out of the 1920s, right? And to drop into a world that's kind of familiar in the 80s. We all grew up in the 80s, gentlemen of our age, right? So we've got really good connections with the world in the 80s. But what I don't think any of us had was really good connections to the world of Japan in the 80s. I think that was slightly familiar but different. So we kind of knew about, Sony, Nintendo, all those kinds of things. Yeah, we're familiar with that. We didn't really know much about the anime and the manga scene in the 80s, I would argue. So, and this is all thrown into this book. And it's proper good mysteries. I mean, these are head fucks. Yeah, the monsters are beautifully imagined, and it's kind of set. King in Yellow is kind of in there, but it's a variation of it. I loved it. Bloody loved it.
It was fun to run as well. It was fun to run because it felt like an interesting mystery, and because it knew you weren't going to be fighting all the time, it filled it with role-playing experiences.
Yeah.
With the odd monster thrown in.
But when the monsters were thrown in, they were really good monsters that you didn't have to shoot at. So you could still play the game. You could still engage the baddie, even though you didn't have an arsenal of weapons at your behest. What did we dropped a candelabra on one or something, didn't we? A lighting rig or something on top of on one monster.
Yeah.
It made us think. It made us look at the environment. It made us discuss amongst ourselves. Oh, is there something like this around? Could we use that? Can we do that? And we ran away on a couple of occasions because it was the right thing to do. It was lovely. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot.
No, it's a very good. And there's a second book. That's only the first half of the campaign. It's what we played. There is a second book, which at some point I'm going to have to, get a hold of.
Chaosium is banging it out of the park with Cthulhu right now, in my opinion.
Definitely.
And on that note, Dr. Lewis.
I've been looking at my list thinking which one do I pick, for that all of them are very, very good reasons. But I am going to pick, I think, Covenant from De Vere.
Ooh.
Rory looks stunned. I like that when I do that. I subvert his expectations. Well, it's either that or Polaris, but I've only played Polaris once, really, with other people, and I want to play it some more. But I really enjoyed Covenant for lots and lots and lots of reasons, other than it being a big heavy Euro that kicked off lots of sort of David Turksy tweaks in my brain. I liked it partially because of it. You do a thing to do a thing to do a thing to do a thing. I quite like games like that. I'm not going to turn around and say I'm very good at them, but I do like them because we all found we struggled with it a bit, in the sense that you could score, in theory, more than 200 points, and none of us could work out how. And that intrigues me. That, to me, says I can do better at this game. I can poke this game a lot more. There are some games, I think we talked about one last time, maybe the time before, Steve, where I think there's the Stefan Feld game where you basically got to the top of all of the tracks, and where do you go from there?
Yes.
This is kind of the opposite of that. We haven't done very well at all, so we can do better. There's a lot more to see and do in this game, and I like that about games. It's one of the reasons I like heavy Euros, really, because you can never do particularly well to start with. You can never get all of the stuff out all of the, in 1, 2, or even more playthroughs. Hell, I've got Sulkin. I've owned that for years, and I'm still shite at it. So, but it still doesn't stop it being a great game. So I really liked Covenant. It's dwarves digging down, delving greedily and too deeply, mining for stuff, delivering them to whoever wants it, building various structures within their sort of underground city, leveling up, drinking beer, generally being unruly and having a good time, the sort of things that fantasy dwarves are wont to do. And wrapped up all in that is a very clever and very tight action system. So action selection, where you can dump a dwarf on an action, and she will do that thing. You can potentially buy more actions, but you've still only got 4 actions in a round, so you've got to be very, very careful and very clever about how you do your actions. Can you get your actions to do more for you? And that is ultimately the crux of the game, really, is what can you get out of a single action? It's all about efficiency, forward planning, and cleverness, which is all very well until you play with these 4, in which case you can throw that into a cocktail because it'll ruin your day no matter how hard you try. And for that, I loved it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I've played this game lots. I'm terrible at this game. Absolutely rubbish at this game. But I really enjoy trying not to be rubbish. And even failing at that, I'm enjoying failing. There's got to be a way to score more points. I just don't know. I don't know how other people do it. I just don't see it.
No, what we'll do, Rory, is we'll sit down for a day and we'll go through it step by step, collaboratively, and together we'll try and score at least 100 points.
I think that'd be a really fun way to play a game that's really hard. Right? We're actually, rather than play against each other, we're going to try and help one another score as high as possible.
Do you know what? I did that with Tapestry. I was still shit at it.
I agree, Andy. It's a fantastic little game. It deserved the S and hype.
Yeah.
But I also agree with you. I don't work out. I scored 200 points in this game. I have no idea.
There is also the big caveat that we might have played it wrong, because the rulebook isn't the best.
It's by De Vere. I think it's starting to be like standard
It's
now
their
if you buy a
thing.
De Vere game. Yeah.
Do you think there's some kind of pact in the rulebook writing process where 10% of the rulebook by law must be shite?
It's our quota. Is that an EU quota thing?
Exactly, yes. Yeah.
I'm gonna go off a tangent. Me and Rory are gonna have a rant about one game that we played last night.
It was brilliant.
So we played the new Ark Nova game, Sanctuary.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so Rory had read the rules, and I'm not kidding, first turn, I went to Rory, what does this symbol mean? And Rory went, I haven't the faintest clue. It's not in the rulebook.
Oh, no.
Yeah, just stuff. There was just stuff missing from the rulebook. Like, wow.
We reckoned there was 3 symbols on tokens that were missing from the rulebook.
That we encountered in turn 1. I was like, what does this mean?
Wow. That means that game has not been playtested.
Well, I think it's just, I don't think the rulebook's been play
Not
tested.
blind tested.
Well, that's part of the playtest, though, because surely you give the rulebook blind to people who've never played the game and go, right, knock yourselves out and play the game.
So, that fun game, but really, and there's 2 rule. It's one of those. Why I don't like publishers where they do 2 rule books for the sake of doing 2 rule books. Can you just staple those 2 pieces of paper to the other 16, please? Just, why is it a set? Why have you used twice the amount of staples you need to? Where's the efficiency in that? It's not like a separate language. It's just the glossary. Put the glossary with the rule.
Nah, I reckon I know the reason of that.
Okay, I'm dying to know what it is. Please hope
Really,
this is a joke.
Because the machine on which makes the staples only has staples big enough for 16 pages at a time. If you want the 32-page stapler, it costs you a shit lot more, or you have to go to 85 pages.
Right.
What if it's only 18 pages, Sid?
Well, then you'd
You've
have
got
to
a
you'd
2-page
have,
glossary.
well, you'd have to have a 2. You can do less than 16 pages, but 16 pages is the maximum. It's a price break. I'll put money on it.
Maybe
It's cheaper
that's
to
why
make
the rules
2
are missing.
16 pagers than it is to make 1 32 page.
Yeah, we can't afford the staples. Chuck this rule in the bin.
But someone will do an FAQ on Board Game Geek. It's okay.
We'll fix it in post.
Do you know what? That's probably the actual reason. That's what's terrifying. I've worked in manufacturing and I
It will
know
be some bullshit like that.
that'll be the reason.
Guarantee it.
Because somebody has said our widget machine can only do 3.3 millimeters and 17 pages turns it up above that.
You put your hand in your hands. It will be some nonsense like that. I'll put money on it.
I lost track. Where were we? Whose turn was that?
It's your turn, Rory.
It's your turn, Rory, for your last game.
Right, okay. I'm going to talk about another De Vere game then. I'm going to talk about the White Castle Duel. So this is the 2-player version of the White Castle. We talked about this in episode 176, and this is a really interesting worker placement game. So it does away with the dice that we find in White Castle and turns it into just workers. And it has this really cool thing is I place one of my 6 workers out, either the 2 of the orange, 2 of the white, 2 of the black. I take both actions to where it goes. I trigger my lantern row from where it came from. And then we have to, between the 2 players, retrieve the workers. And I can retrieve any worker as long as it's at the top of the stack. Again, I trigger both actions. It comes back to my board. It triggers the lantern row. And it makes this really interesting decision because the first ones I put out are going to be at the bottom of the stack, which means they're going to be the last ones to return, which means they're going to give me the greatest reward, but I need to make sure the greatest reward is going to give me the greatest input to go up the ladders and the tracks and stuff. it takes that really simple decision and it makes it really, really interesting, and it gives you lots of ramifications for a future that you can't see, because the cards will change, the actions will change, everything changes basically on the board between your first move and your last move, and you only have 12 actions in the entire game. Lightning quick, so much depth of thought goes into this game in a really short time space. It's got great production, a great price point, and it's just super interesting. Great work.
Yeah, a really good game. I mean, again, we've talked a couple of times about games which are re-implementations of other games that feel different yet the same, and this is another one. It's mechanically it's completely different to White Castle Duel, but it feels exactly the same as White Castle, and makes it even tighter, which I didn't think was possible.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Nice.
Really good little game.
You just tweaked me, actually, if we go off a slight tangent. I played, because whilst I was in Germany, I played Azul Duel. Laura and I played that.
Azul Duel.
Azul Duel, yes. And it's, again, it's similar but very different. There's a lot to think about in it. But I have to ask the question, why it exists, because there's nothing really wrong with a two-player regular Azul.
I have that issue with Splendor. So yes,
Splendid Duel is fantastic, though. It's a very different game.
But Splendor works perfectly fine at two players.
That's a good point. I see what you mean. Yeah. Splendid
That's
does
the
work
thing.
too. Yeah.
It's the thing with Azul Duel. It's good, and there's a lot to think about, and it's very clever, and it's very hard, but I'm not sure it's necessary. But anyway.
Well, then, we normally go through the games we've talked about and then pick one as our game of the year. However, we'd already picked Game of the Year before we started, and so we decided that we weren't actually going to discuss this as a pick. And if you are keen listeners to this podcast, you will know we decided this was going to be Game of the Year in March. Because it was that good and nothing has toppled it, and that game is Galactic Cruise from Dranta Games and Kenson Key Games. It is a game about running a cruise ship company in which you have to, cruise spaceship company, in which you'll have to advertise cruises, assign passengers, build your ships, top them up with fuel, food and oxygen, and then go on merry cruises around the cosmos, dropping your clients, your cruise toppers, to various places to milk them dry of all the pennies in their bank accounts and therefore become the best cruise operator in the galaxy. I mean, we played it a lot physically, and then it came onto BGA, and me and Rory have played it, I think, a dozen times now this year. The BGA implementation is absolutely fantastic. It's got a really cool balance of you've got objectives, or you can try and score points by just doing cruises. There are different ways of winning. Every single decision is a mini brain burner because you're trying to optimize and do things before everyone else. Beautifully put together. And a rule book which makes sense with an additional rule book to help you just reference during the game, so you don't even have to go to the main rule book when you want to check something. You've got a little mini rule book of your own. I think it should be nominated for Insert of Choice of the Year because everything fits together nicely in that box, and the player pieces are nice little rocket ships. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
And it took into account the 2 expansions as well.
Yes.
I was going to mention it, but I didn't want to ruin the surprise.
That's fair enough.
But yeah, there are a couple of things that bounce about in the box, but generally speaking, it is an incredibly good insert. Everything fits really well. It's very well put together. You can find stuff. There's even a little map on how to build it and put it together. Yeah, and I also love the way that it doesn't take itself entirely seriously either. There's a little manual, and it essentially assumes it's essentially a marketing guide, and you can tell whoever wrote this has clearly done some kind of marketing course or has been a professional marketer in real life, because it's just so good. There's a little bit of tongue-in-cheek the way it's written, but I think it works so well. Everything's on point. It feels great. There's nothing wasted in it either. All of the mechanics, all of the actions, all of the parts of the game all flow into each other really, really well. It all makes sense. Climbing the little tower when you launch your rocket to make sure you do your actions in the right order is a lovely little touch as well. I think it's brilliant. It really is an absolutely epically good Euro. It looks like an Eagle Griffin game, but it's not as heavy. It's really quite easy to teach. I love the networking bit in the middle where you can use actions next to where you've put your chap if you've got a cog, or you can pay someone to use their cog unless you've got high rep. It really makes you think about where you put your people as well. So there's a bit of brain burn there. There's the mix of how you build your ships and what you build them of, where you get your bonuses from. It's brilliant. It's really well thought out. There's absolutely nothing wasted in it. It all looks wonderful. And it's not, considering it's a heavy Euro with really incredible production value, it's not that expensive, relatively speaking.
I agree. Relatively speaking, yeah.
But I think it's cheaper than most of the Eagle Griffin games because they're up at £140, £150, I think.
That's not hard these days.
No, I know, that's fair. But they are incredibly well produced.
Yeah.
But I think Galactic Cruise, if I remember rightly, is about £100. It's not as much as it looks like it should be.
I agree. I absolutely love this game. I remember the first time playing it way back in. I remember halfway through the game, I remember turning to Steve and just going, I want this game. I need this game in my collection. And despite the fact that you both have it, I still really want it just because.
Well, technically, I don't have it at the moment.
No, it's on my shelf, isn't it? Yeah, because I've got. Steve.
Yeah, so I remember because you must have played. It might have even been February actually, because I ended up playing it with the Newport Pagnell guys at Aircon in March. So you guys must have played it potentially either late Feb, early March, maybe.
I think it was early March, I think.
Yeah,
we played it. Yeah,
and I ended up buying it at Aircon, all of it.
Brilliant game, and I also love that I'm really good at this game as well.
Annoyingly, he's right.
There we go. So that's our game of the year then. No controversy, no argument. Just going to jump straight in, and we called it out in March, and we stuck to our guns, and there's nothing's toppled up. There's been some great games this year, absolutely sterling games this year, but I think we were blown away by this game, and it continues to enthrall and entertain us every time it still comes to the table.
No, I agree. I still have the excitement for it. I get it out. It looks ace. It's having the mat as well makes it look fantastic. It all fits together. And there's a real energy when I'm teaching players how to play it. There's a lot of questions, but they get into it. And you can see they're really enjoying it as well. I've introduced it to like 3 or 4 different groups of people now. And they have all walked away going, this is really good.
Ticks all the boxes, definitely.
It really does.
Yeah.
Brilliant game. That's all we need to say.
Well then, folks, I think that'll do us for an episode. I'd like to thank all of you for listening throughout the year. I hope you have a good holiday season. And we will be back soon with our preview of the games we're looking forward to in 2026. So everyone on this podcast has to go away and put their thinking caps back on. I especially have to, because I realised that everything I want to speak about this year, I actually spoke about last year. So I need to come up with 3 new games. If you have a game you are really looking forward to, then let us know either via Discord, Instagram, Facebook, or any of the social medias. Mr. Summer has his hand up.
I did, yes. I just want to say that we've got some juicy exclusives for our most anticipated games of 2026 as well. Because I've been doing, so believe it or not, guys, I've been doing some research, and I've been pinging publishers annoying emails until they respond to me. So yeah, we've got some exclusives for our most anticipated games of 26.
Well, we shall be back in the new year with that. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a review on your podcast platform of choice, and don't forget, as we mentioned, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Threads as Polyhedron Collider, Board Game Geek Guild 2726, Blue Sky, and of course the Discord server, which is linked to below. But until next time, happy gaming.
Ta-ra!
Cheerio!
Bye-bye.